I'm William Kumwembe with Business Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And coming up in the program, Illovo Sugar profit up 114%. We speak with its board chairperson on prospects for the year. And also in the program, Exports Warehouse System excites MRA. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. In our main story in the program today, Malawi Stock Exchange listed Illovo Sugar Malawi has registered a 114% jump in net profit to 56.8 billion kwacha in the ended August 31st, 2023. This came during the company's annual general meeting held in Blantyre last week. Among other things, the company has also posted a 46% growth in revenue to hit 272.5 billion kwacha. It declared an 18.7 billion kwacha in dividends, representing a 34% increase from 13.9 billion kwacha declared a year before. Jimmy Lipunga is chairperson of the Illovo Sugar Malawi board and explains in this interview.
Remarkable success, growth in revenue, growth in profitability. The share price said it all, doubling the share price. Very successful year in short. Good management, good and decisive management with the capabilities to manage all the risks. You know, we're operating in a very difficult environment with a backdrop of Cyclone Freddy. It's the same year which we also saw challenges in terms of pricing. There was a lot of disquiet concerning pricing of sugar. In fact, in the end, Illovo was proved right in the sense that, you see, when the price is increased, it is to forestall smuggling. Okay. Now, inability to actually adjust prices to reflect what we call regional parity has allowed some to smuggle the product and export it, maybe even illegally cross-border. It happens all the time. If you don't adjust prices to be at least at par with the region, you're actually encouraging smuggling, and that's one of the contributing factors to the sugar shortage that everyone is aware of. So in short, good governance, managing risks effectively. We've got a very good team, very, very good management team, and we're very proud of them. So the Malawi Stock Exchange simply responds to performance. There is a requirement and obligation to report half-yearly results, and so investors are able to take a view as to what a company is worth. And because of the remarkable performance with regard to revenue, dividends, especially dividend growth, there's been significant dividend growth, and so what the stock market does is to respond accordingly. And you've seen a very, very decent increase in the share price from about 500 to 1,100 kwacha. Certainly it's not very good news for us, and I don't think it's good news for companies in general. The reference to 10 billion is arbitrary, because one has to look at the level of investment that you've actually put. The asset base of Illovo is massive. And because shareholders have put in a lot of resources, to try and introduce an additional tax above 10 billion, it's basically discouraging investment, And remember, Illovo, as we speak, it has to contend with so many challenges. Cyclones have washed away some of the cane fields, have destroyed infrastructure. Even as recent as yesterday, we have floods in Dwangwa. All these are unanticipated. And to what extent can insurance cover some of things? Riots, people burn sugarcane fields, you not get much from insurance companies. So it's a cost to Illovo. It's a drain. It actually these things are threatening the capital base of the company. So when you then add on top of all these a tax, it becomes a challenge. It becomes a challenge because how do you now finance? There's a whole range of projects that are in the pipeline requiring substantial resources. And so we are hoping, there's nothing we can do. We are hoping that this tax measure is an interim one and perhaps will be revisited in the near future. It doesn't help, in fact, the cause for economic growth. In order to stimulate growth of new enterprises, you actually should be going the other way. You should be reducing taxation, because then that, reduces the cost of capital. Because you see, what you should always bear in mind is that when you tax, if you tax, you increase the risks in terms of cash flow. It's an outgoing. So for investors, they get scared, and they will probably put their money where, the tax is a lot more friendlier.
Now, the Malawi Revenue Authority says it is impressed with the performance of 105 export warehouses across the country. The development follows the introduction of a new law called Customs Controlled Warehouses in June last year. Speaking to journalists in Longwe when MRA officials toured some of the warehouses, MRA Head of Corporate Affairs Stephen Kapoloma said the system operations have picked up over the recent months. Kapoloma spoke with our journalist Kumbo Kaliwo.
The introduction of export warehouses has streamlined the process of monitoring and tracking proceeds from our exports. As you are aware, previously every Jim and Jack would pick up their bags, tons of rice or groundnuts and export without necessarily having cognizance of the importance of tracking the data that is very critical for our economy. But with the coming of export warehouses, we are now able to track the proceeds as they are emanating from the sales, because we are able to register the quantity of exports that are going into the export warehouses. But we are also tracking those that are exiting from the export warehouses, because these export warehouses are controlled areas. As a result of this, we are now able to track down the buying of the commodities from the farm gate all the way to the export warehouses, all the way to the proceeds being exported through our borders. And what is more important is that we are now able to know that exporter exported Y amount of groundnuts, and we're expecting to get Z amount of forex from that. And then the authorities are able to track down and being able to know whether those proceeds have come into the country or not, which previously was definitely not there. So the export warehouses have really enhanced our capacity as a country to be able to follow the proceeds from our exports. There are numerous advantages of the export warehouses. Not only are we able to track the proceeds, but we're also able to have data of high integrity in as far as exports are concerned, because we are able to track the movement of the produce from farm gate to export warehouses to being exported outside this country. Therefore, the data that we have now is more reliable than before, because previously people will carry their bags of groundnuts or rice or maize and just export anyhow. As a result, it was very difficult for us to track down. And what perpetuated this challenge was that there were those that could forge customs documents, and through that aid the smuggling of these items across the nation.
Now, last year, the government amended the Customs and Excise Act to ensure that farm produce is exported through customs controlled warehouse. This is what James Nyasuru, warehouse manager for Africa Commodity Trading, had to say on impact of the law.
MRA is the main partner when it comes to export because they are the ones who handle the declarations and they are one who sets us the standards of in terms of the freelance of sending goods outside the nation. Now when it comes to Malawi Bureau of Standards, they have set a great standard in terms of the quality because they are working hand in hand with us. They usually come to set the standards of how the international market operates. I can say Malawian products are on high demand because of the standards that we have set towards our products and the way the farming system goes, our products are usually on point meeting the international standard for marketing. Before the warehouse export allowance, it was a bit difficult because that time there was no a standard, but now since there's a standard, we don't have those problems anymore.
Remember, you're watching Business Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. My name is William Kumwembe. Moving on with the program. Lack of access to finance among unbanked sections of the population would be addressed following the introduction of an overdraft facility by one of the country's mobile money companies, Kumwembe Limited. The company has revealed this in its loan book, which has grown to 17 billion in 4 months ending January 2024 through the loan product dubbed Mbamba Ndi Ganke. Chimwemwe Mangazi has the whole story in this report.
Kumwembe Limited reported that 930,000 customers have registered on the platform, yet only 559,000 of them have utilized the loan service. Those who have availed of the service commend it for its simplicity in acquiring financial assistance for both personal and business purposes.
It's needful and helpful because sometimes someone in areas cannot have such kind of money, but then has the possibility of borrowing such kind of money through mobile devices. So it makes life so easy. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's an instant way, very and short way, because sometimes we don't have cash and the distance is rain season. We can go far, rather just take on your phone, then that's easy way.
It is important because nowadays we can say money is very difficult and a lot of things are at a high rate. It's not easy for every person to go to the bank and access a loan. Not everyone. It requires a lot than Mbamba Ganke.
In contrast, a significant portion of the company's clientele remains unaware of this facility. Kumwembe General Manager Chris Sukasuka elaborates on the platform's functionality.
This is an overdraft facility. So maybe our customers are so used to loan products that are offered maybe by other service providers, which requires that a customer should maybe fill in some forms, then apply for a loan, get an approval. Whilst our overdraft is a straightforward product. The moment you have activated your Ndikanke account, the next thing you need to do is just start transacting. And the way you transact is in such a way that you want to do a transaction. Like maybe, let me give an example of a bill payment. You want to pay for your water bill. In your account, you got 10,000, but the bill is about 15 or 20,000. So if you try to settle that 20,000 bill using the 10,000 that currently is in your wallet, normally you will receive a feedback message that you have insufficient funds. At that point in time, if you have registered for Mbamba Ndikanke or you have activated your Ndikanke account, the system is going to prompt you to ask you, do you want to access a Ndikanke facility? Which is now what will allow you to complete your payment, much as you don't have, the equivalent e-value in your wallet. So I think that is one of the things that maybe some of our customers have expressed ignorance of, to say maybe they don't know how to use it. But they don't have to do anything else other than just to start the process. Even if you want to go maybe to an agent, you want to cash out 20,000, but in your wallet there's 15,000. proceed with the transaction. And at the point it will come tell you, you don't have sufficient funds, you maybe have insufficient funds. Do you want to access an overdraft facility? If you say yes, then the system will allow you to proceed with that transaction.
Such innovative initiatives can only be fully embraced if efforts to bridge the gap between individuals accessing formal financial services and those who are unable to do so are anything to go by.
Now moving on with business news. Technology is moving at a supersonic speed, and recently we were talking of 2G, then 3G, 4G, and now 5G technology. Last week, our reporter Taonga Sabola was in Barcelona, Spain, where he attended the Mobile World Congress 2024. Sabola caught up with one of the officials from Hawaii Senior Storage Consultants to get more on what the new generation are bringing to the technology space.
It's a 2G and only voice capabilities. 3G, we added a data component onto that. As you can see over here with 4G, we started connecting things. 5G, we've got things, homes, people, and then 5G. So there's an evolution that takes place in terms of the connectivity, the amount of connectivity, and the amount of data. So as we go from 4G to 5G, we need to understand the real benefit. If we look at the bigger picture, it's not only to the home user that's able to have more broadband capabilities. The industry verticals will start to benefit from that. Because industry is very, very specific. Think again in terms of smart factories, education, interactivity, virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality. So now the real world and the digital world is starting to merge. Okay? And we can derive that value, but only when we get to that level where our network has expanded. Now, there are two types of networks you get on 5G. The one is called NSA, it's a non-standalone network. That means I've got radio capabilities of 5G, but my core is still 4G. And then I can only look at the massive, the ultra broadband capabilities. If I want the full bouquet of 5G services and beyond, I have to have a 5G core in my network. Alright. Now, unfortunately, all of the operators cannot just replace everything at once. It's an expensive exercise. But we provide an evolutionary path for the operators. So in a big sense, many of them are going to switch on their 5G network, but it will still have limited capabilities because of the core. Once I've got that core environment as a 5G, then what we call is a full 5G standalone network. And then we can apply a lot of these benefits. If you want to participate in the digital economy of the future, and you want to create jobs, that is why China don't wait. Because they recognize the impact that technology is going to have, not only in our personal lives, but in government services, in health and education, and in business environment. You have to evolve towards that. Otherwise, you will still only sit on your porch and you will do a call. And that's the maximum benefit you can get from it. But like I say, to get part of it, to become part of the digital economy and bring new and innovative devices, let's look at smart agriculture, smart mining. This is the route you have to go. Because, again, the demands on the network is so much higher than what we used to have. That's why the technology has to evolve. Otherwise, you will never be part of the digital economy.
Well, with that story, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time. It's a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and goodbye for now.